Hey, what's up, Vox and Hops heads? I'm Matt, the vocalist of Cryptopsy, and you're listening to my podcast, Vox and Hops, where I normally sit down with fellow metal musicians to talk about their lives, music, and craft beer. But this is another Vox and Hops Metal Brewer Talk, where I sit down with metal brewers and talk about their lives, their love of metal music, and how they started brewing craft beer. Devastation on the Nation 2020 is upon us. The tickets are now live. This tour is presented by Metal Festival Tours, Continental Concerts USA, and the Vox&Hops Podcast. This is a tour that you do not want to miss, featuring Rotting Christ, Borknagar, Wolfheart, Abigail Williams, and Imperial Triumphant. As some of the shows have already sold out, you better act fast and get your tickets to Devastation on the Nation 2020. You can get those tickets via the link in the description of this podcast, or you could simply go to metalfestivaltours.com. Today on the Vox and Hops Metal Brewer Talks, I am with Jamie Morris of the Henderson Brewing Company. Here it is, Vox and Hops Metal Brewer Talks number 2.
I warn you, what you are about to hear is very disturbing indeed.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Today I'm with Jamie Morris, one of the head brewers at Henderson Brewing Company from Toronto, Ontario. Am I correct about that, about the location?
Correct. Yep.
Tell everyone about how we met. You are actually the person that made the very first Vox and Hops beer.
Yeah, that's right.
I still have it here. I have it like right next to my TV when I'm sitting at home. It was the last date of Hell Over North America. And Jamie came out and knocked on my bandwagon to drop off some craft beers for us, because I like to receive craft beers in exchange for guest lists when I play shows. And Jamie went above that and brewed the very first Vox and Hops beer, and it's called Lots of Hops, and it was a double dry hopped double India Pale Ale. It came in at a sweet, delicious, extremely smooth 8.5% ABV. It was absolutely amazing, with the citrus, Chinook, and mosaic hops and a California ale yeast. It was really, really good, and I was very blown away and taken aback that you actually did something like that for me. So I say thank you once again.
Hey, yeah, well, I mean, it was a great show, and I don't know if you drank that before you went on, but you fucking ripped that show up. That was fantastic. That was, who else was on that one? It was Aborted, right? Aborted and That's you right. guys?
Aborted, Hideous Divinity, and Cryptopsy.
Yeah, that was awesome. That was a great show.
I drank it afterwards. There's a funny story about that. We were supposed to continue on to Indianapolis, but we ended up going back to Montreal afterwards, and we had received a lot of beer that night, and we went through quite a bit of it. I actually brought a whole bunch of beer onto Aborted's bandwagon, and I was like, please just take some beer, because
get this off me.
It was a tad ridiculous that night.
Awesome. That's great. So it worked then. Like calling out on the podcast and asking for beer, you really get beer.
It works. Especially in North America, it really seemed to hit people's interests.
Yeah.
And I like that, because I get to taste a whole bunch of beers that I wouldn't come across normally. And I get to meet cool people that have similar interests as me, such as metal and craft beer.
Mm-hmm. The two best things in the world.
That's right, which brings us to the metal brewers.
Hell yeah.
Tell everyone a bit about how you started brewing beer. Why did you start brewing beer? What is your brewer's story?
So it's kind of funny. My dad actually was doing homebrew back in, I don't know, the like early 90s. So I was a kid, and I remember tagging along with him, and he was like brewing into like brown pop bottles, and wow. Yeah, just like, like brown ales and just like ale stuff. And, it was like a wine making place and a beer making place, homebrew kind of thing. And I'd go and help him out, and he'd end up drinking them a month later, and then complaining about how swollen his stomach would be. So, times have changed, and I ended up working at the LCBO, which is our alcohol distribution in Ontario. And that really turned me on to beer and I guess like wine and you know, like craft things in general. They got a really good program there, and they help like train you and get you immersed in, you know, what they offer. And this was maybe like, I guess like 12 years ago. So
wow.
Craft beer was kind of like not really, like Moosehead was the craft beer. Keith's was like just came to Ontario, and that was craft beer. So that was like, I remember like trying them and like, okay, this is an IPA, they call it. And like, no, but then we were getting other stuff, and there was other IPAs there, and they were completely different. And so I didn't really know what was going on. And then, you know, a year or two later, now, okay, it's just generic. They got bought out, and they are what they are now. But yeah, it was cool because they had a really good program for educating you and training you and like developing your palate so you can sell product to customers. Essentially, you're a salesperson for all this beer that was there. And then I kind of moved around, and I lived out west for a while, and I was living out in Calgary, and there were 4 craft breweries in Calgary while I was living there. And I lived there for like 7 years, moved back to Toronto, and then it was just like, boom, explosion. All this stuff in Toronto, so many great breweries here. And I was like, I should start brewing now. I drink a lot of beer, and I need a hobby. This should be fun. I like cooking, and it's kind of like the same thing. I think a lot of people say that, at least brewers anyways. You know, and you just kind of experiment with different things and create what you can create. And then it kind of took off. And then Henderson Brewing was at my doorstep kind of thing. And I walked on while they were opening up, and 4 years later, here I am today, a brewer there, and it's been awesome. I was able to like homebrew there, and it got put on tap, and people loved it, and I think they like recognized that, and so yeah, now I'm brewing, so it's really cool.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So your father's hobby turned into your lifestyle.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, and now he's just making wine. He's all like classy.
Oh yeah, I was gonna ask if he comes and he drinks beer at Henderson, and he's proud that his son.
Yeah, he loves it. Yeah, it's great.
So Henderson's been going for 4 years now, you say?
Yeah.
And I'm holding in my hand something that has been sitting in the back of my fridge, something that you mailed to me.
Oh yeah, nice one.
One of the great things about the Vox&Hops Brewer Talks is that you great brewers mail me some of the beer that you have brewed so that we can share it together.
Life of luxury you have, Matt.
I know. Face to face, drinking the same beer and having a conversation. So let's crack this sucker open.
Pulled one out too. Yeah, right on.
Yes. So this is Privat's Pleasure.
So all the Henderson beers is like a story of Toronto. So it's like something that happened here, and they create a story around it, and then we kind of make a beer to theme with that story. Do you have your official Vox&Hops glass? Hell yeah, you do.
Of course I do. It's the only thing I drink out of now.
Cheers, brother.
Cheers. Cling. Smells nice. Smoking.
We do like a 20 hec batch of this, which is 2,000 liters, or like 20 or 19, 18 barrel or something like that. Why everything's different, I don't know, but 20 hecs. And so we did a 20 hec batch of Rauchbier, which is German smoke beer. And then we got some Ontario peaches. I think it was about 300 kilos, which works out to about 666 pounds.
Of course.
And we got a big fucking blowtorch, and we just, with a whole day, there's all of the production team. We cut all these peaches in half and charred the shit out of them, and then threw them into the fermenter.
Wow.
Yeah, it was super fun.
That must have been a mess after getting it out.
Yeah, it was, yeah. We put a lot of chemicals in there and burnt it all out.
This is good. It's smooth. The 7%, we don't feel it whatsoever.
Nice. Thanks.
It's really, really smooth. I really enjoy it. A little bit sweet because of the peaches.
Mm-hmm.
It's lightly smoked, very lightly smoked.
Yeah. I mean, that we brewed that back in August.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's the smoke has definitely calmed down a little bit. It was nice and up front at the beginning, and it has kind of like neutralized now. I think the peaches have really taken over, but it's good. Yeah, it's great.
When you go and order a beer at a craft beer bar, what is your go-to style of beer?
Normally I like to start with like an IPA, and if just see what's out there and see who it's from, and then get an IPA, and then kind of set the standard there, and then I'll explore a little bit more after that.
You mentioned that Toronto became such a hotbed for craft beer. Why do you think that happened?
I think it's like it's a huge city, for one, and then people there's a really great food scene here as well, and so I think people have kind of realized they've separated from that wine and food pairing thing and have explored like there's so much more that beer offers that wine doesn't, in terms of like flavors that you can pair with food. Example, this one, this could be a great dessert beer, and I think you can set up a lot of different meals and have like different beers all along the way, where as wine's great, but if you have like a Merlot and then a Cabernet and you're having like all this like food at the same time, it kind of all becomes a wash, I find. So whereas beer is like, it's very different. Like they're very distinct styles and very distinct flavors, and I think that makes it really exciting to eat and drink. And now especially the like session and like craft lagers and craft pilsners is now a thing. So now people are going out and like having these like delicious locally brewed beers that are like drinkable, and you can like sit around with your pals and have a bunch of them.
Which is good too for people that are just stepping into the craft beer game. Because a person that just wants a Coors Light, you say, here, well, let's try this charred peach smoked ale, and their
head explodes.
I can just imagine it not going over well.
Yeah. Coors Light goes great with sushi, though.
There's a time and a place for every beer, right?
Yeah, like a 12-pack of Coors Light.
Take me through a typical day of brewing. What does it entail? I've heard that a typical beer takes, no matter what style, it takes about 7 hours from start to finish.
Yeah. Today I started at 6 a.m. Normally we do about 3 to 4 brews in a day. So given that, if it just depending on if it's a 4 brew day, I'll start at like 5, and then you get about 2 brews in, and then the afternoon guy comes in and tags you out. But yeah, so it starts, you got your mash, and then that's about an hour. So you warm your breakfast up, watch it do its thing, and then you have your whole process, and then you're just doing all your other tasks that prepare for like the next day or the next thing. So it's a lot of there's a lot of like busy time and then downtime where you got to do other stuff, and then you're busy again for a little bit, and then you're down again. So it's a lot of like busy work and then waiting around.
On tour, we always say what we do is hurry up and wait.
Yeah.
So it's almost the same thing.
and that's why these jobs like this like brewing and music making are like so relatable. I think like you got these 4 ingredients that make this great thing, and you got like 4 guys that like put out this great thing, and the process is all like kind of the same. You figure out what one is really good, and you kind of perfect that. Like a malt is like what kind of malts you like, and like you're a great vocalist, and how does that all work together? And yeah, it's cool. That's why this podcast is so great, because it's like it's bringing all these 2 worlds together that almost like didn't know each other, but now they're
one and the same. It's happening. Yeah. I was going to say, why do you think beer and metal work so well together?
There you go. Yeah. And also because like what's more perfect than, you know, we might be out of mosh retirement now, but like standing around the sides, and I want to hold on to a nice tasty beer, right? Like,
you hear that, venues out there? We need more distribution. That's the real issue.
Yeah.
To get craft beers and knock
Totally.
some taps off and get them some more craft beers flowing. And
yeah, get the butt out.
Yeah, at least 1 or 2 taps. You'll see. You'll sell a lot more craft beer. We guarantee you.
Oh, 100%. At least to these two guys.
Yeah, especially if I'm there. Yeah. When you're brewing, do you listen to metal? Is there music playing? Is it quiet? How does that work?
Yeah. I mean, like Thursday or Friday, it'll be Vox&Hops Podcast. Tip of the hat. Maybe the Jasa Podcast. Little shout out there. Otherwise, yeah, we're like a big music friendly brewery. Maybe not metal all the time, but definitely it's on, especially in the morning. The summertime, it's great. We got these garage doors. And so in the summer, if you're brewing, you open them up, and 5 a.m, what's better than like blasting Cryptopsy? So the whole neighborhood hears it. Yeah, we definitely listen to a lot of music. We got like a vinyl night that we do that's super fun, so you can come and play whatever you want. But yeah, like today I listened to Van Halen all day, and it was really great.
I needed a Van Halen day a few days ago.
Oh God, it was so good.
Yeah, my house got really clean all of a sudden. What style of beer are you dreaming of brewing that you haven't brewed yet, that you'd like to brew? Where do you find your inspiration for brews? A mixed question.
Definitely music is one. Again, like coming back to like the relationship between music and beer. I just listened to the new Cattle Decapitation. So now I think I want to... It'd be insanely expensive, but like a triple dry hop, triple IPA would be crazy. You know, with some Kavaikis or something to make it come out really quick, so people can drink it really fast and enjoy it. And there's a lot of like great esters that come from the Kavaikis. That's really cool. Yeah, listening to music and kind of seeing what's out there and what people are doing, and kind of getting inspired by other people's brews. And I've been looking over into Europe, because like the North American scene is good, and you see a lot of like repeat activity, but looking overseas is like cool to see what they're doing too, because you know they're like taking from the North American scene and like doing their own kind of styles, and so it's good to like
flip-flop back and forth.
Yeah, jump ship a little bit once in a while and check it out.
What countries would you be eyeing?
I think Japan, like using like sake. They use like sake yeast in beer. That'd be really cool. Then like Germany, of course, like middle or like Eastern European countries using what they use. You know, they like, it seems like every Eastern European country has their own kind of like moonshine. They make their own like kind of like bootleg liquor
from potatoes or from root vegetables or
plums or something like that, and like pulling something from there would be cool to like add in and, you know, make something crazy.
How about doing like a band collaboration beer? Is that something you guys have ever thought about? Something you have done in the past?
Oh yeah, 100%. We do a monthly, like this Privat's Pleasure, this...
it says September's.
So it's the Ides of September, so we do a monthly release. And I think a few years ago we did Ides with Banger. And you interviewed, was it Brad from Banger a little while ago? When you guys were... Yes. Yeah, our neighbors. Shout out to Banger. And... we did like 4. They have their like metal family tree, whatever, and so it was like 4 different labels of like the metal.
Oh, that's amazing!
Yeah, so that was really cool. That was like a cream ale that we did that was super delicious. But yeah, 100%. Like we're totally down to do stuff like that. We're doing like a rotating IPA series that is all about like collaborating. out. So collaborating with other breweries, but yeah, bands totally on board. Let's do it.
If you could choose a band, what band would that be?
Ooh, man, that's a good one. Well, we talked before. We should probably do one. But we're in Toronto and you're in Montreal, so I don't know if that's going to put a stake in the Montreal Cryptopsy family. There's so many bands. That's a tough one. I mean, the door's open. So for anybody that wants to come around and give me a holler and bring an idea, let's do it. We'll figure something out.
That's right, everyone out there, all you bands out there, you want to have a craft beer at Henderson's Brewing Company, you got to hit up Jamie.
Yeah, we'll do it. And like if you're on tour, come on through and you throw some hops in the whirlpool and get the hell out and do your sound check, and there you go.
Jamie, thank you so much for coming, having a Vox&Hops brewer talk with me. I really sincerely appreciate it. You are my second victim. There will be many more. I really, really like this beer. It's delicious. The Privat's Pleasure. The Rauchbier with charred peaches. Everybody should try to get their hands on this. I don't know if it's still out there.
There's a few left.
You should try to find it, everyone. It's absolutely delicious. Cheers, Jamie.
Cheers, brother.
Hey, thank you all so much for listening right to the end. You know that I love and appreciate that. I got to say, when Jamie showed up in Toronto on the Hell Over North America tour alongside Aborted and Hideous Divinity at that point, with the Lots of Hops, the very first Vox&Hops brew, I was taken aback and blown away. Super appreciative. Huge shout out to Jamie. Huge shout out to Henderson Brewing Company. They make some solid beers. And if you guys are in Toronto or in the Ontario area, you should grab one, taste it, and listen to some metal while you do, because that's what Jamie does. As always, the best way to support the Vox&Hops podcast is through the Vox&Hops Big Cartel page. Up there right now for a short time, we have the pre-orders for the When in Doubt, One More Stout limited t-shirt. I will be closing the pre-orders in the next few weeks, and then it's gone. Another limited edition Vox&Hops t-shirt designed by Andrew Tremblay, the graphic artist that I use for all of the Vox&Hops merchandise. We also got the 9-ounce Vox&Hops tasting glass, the exact style of glass that I like to use when I'm at home drinking craft beer in the comfort of my home. And I still have a few of those Vox&Hops cuff knit beanies up there. You should pick one up. It's getting cold. You're going to look nice, and it's going to keep you warm. The link for the Vox&Hops Big Cartel page is in the description of this podcast. I definitely don't do Vox&Hops to make any financial gain. When I receive support through the Vox&Hops Big Cartel page, it definitely helps me cover my back ends, such as purchasing the beer, getting the episodes up and out, getting the Vox&Hops alumni shirts, and your support is greatly appreciated. I hope you have a great rest of the week. Try to relax. The holidays are coming. Stressful times. But it's always good to remember to enjoy life, metal, and craft beer. Cheers, Vox&Hops heads.